everybody. I am Lexi Olson. I am actually the broker manager for Ultimate Health Plans. Um, I am for the entire state. I am a busy person, but I always like to make sure that I put your priorities as my priority. I want to make sure that everybody gets their answers or emails answered as much as possible. This is some of our sales management. Travis is going to be in the Citrus Hernando Pasco area. You've got Samantha Hall in the Ocala market, so Lake Marion and Sumter. You have Robert Drake. He is the sales manager for Sarasota Manatee, Indian River, and St. Lucie in that Treasure Coast area. And then you have Frank Corsones. He is in the Tampa market, Hillsborough, Pinellas Polk, and then as well as the Orlando market, so Orange, Osceola, and Seminole. Here are service areas. We are only located in Florida, so please make sure that you are aware. Right now we are in 16 counties. As you can see, we are in the central area, so a good span right there. I do know in the future we will be expanding more. I'm just not 100% sure which counties we will expand to next. Here are some of our community outreach offices. We do have one in Spring Hill, Ocala, and in Fort Pierce. Okay, so we'll go ahead and dive in. So we have three different types of plans. We've got your core, which is just your regular HMO healthy plan. That's color coded in blue. Once we go over those plans, then we have our CSNP, which are color coded in green, and then our DSNPs, our duals, our Medi-Medis, they'll be color coded in orange. So for the Premier, we offer all plans in all of the counties. So like I mentioned, this is going to be your healthy clients that will need this one. And so I'm not 100% sure where you guys are fully located in Florida, but as you can see at the very top, there are the counties for the specific plans. So as you can see, our max out-of-pockets are very low. No premiums on any of the core plans. You do have the full 185 give back for the Part B. Inpatient hospitals are very, very competitive in all of those counties. Zero PCP. Specialist is going to be 10 across the board. Ambulatory surgery centers are also, between $25 and $50. You do want to pay attention to the Part D drugs from 2025 into 2026. The only difference here is going to be our Tier 4. It used to be a set copay for 2025 benefits, and now it's going into a percentage. So that is mainly one of the only differences for our tiers this year. Our dental, something to note, we do not have a max limit. So what you see here is what you get on top of your typical routine cleanings, your x-ray, things of that nature. So you'll get, fillings, crowns, one simple and one surgical extraction. And then obviously some of these others are not covered for these specific plans. Hearing aids are going to be $2,000 per year, so $1,000 per ear per year. Your eyewear allowance did go up this year to $400, almost across the board. You do have $300 in that Manatee, Sarasota area. And this goes for, if you need any upgrades to your prescription glasses, if you want to make them into sunglasses, or you need contacts, things of that nature. You do automatically get that annual eye checkup already at a zero cost. You do have the fitness benefit through Silver Sneakers. You have the meal benefit through Mom's Meals. Nurse Hotline is through CareNet. Transportation varies between which counties you're looking at, but it can be between 12 or 20 one-way trips. And the really cool thing about our transportation before we move forward is Our transportation doesn't just take them to the regular doctor's offices. You can also go to the grocery store, the food pantries, the bank. Some of our clients also need to go to the VA locations, um, fitness centers. So we have a lot more flexibility when it comes to our transportation. One thing we did add from last year back on is our OTC. It is non-rolling, so you have to use it or lose it each month, depending where you're located. It can be between 70 to $95 per month. And then you do have that flex allowance, which is um, additional allowance for your dental, vision, or hearing. And the really cool thing about this flex allowance is that you do not have to use an in-network provider. So, say for instance, if they go to a vision doctor and they're really not 100% sure they are in network, but they like somebody else that is not in network, they can go to that out-of-network doctor and use their flex allowance to, maybe get an extra pair of sunglasses or an extra pair of prescription glasses. So that flex allowance is actually very useful when it comes down to it. And then we will move on to our C-SNP plans. We call it our Advantage Care by Ultimate. You have two specific different plans for our C-SNPs. One is specific to our diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and chronic heart failure. So that is one of our C-SNP plans. And then we have one C-SNP plan that is specifically carved out for COPD plans. Once again, we do have all of these plans in all of our counties. So, um, it is offered everywhere in the 16 counties. Okay, so max out of pocket, once again, very low, very, very competitive to some of these other plans in Florida. You do not have any premium. The Part B is the full 185 give back again. Inpatient hospital, in some areas it did go up, some they started to go down, so it just depends on where you're located. Across the board, besides in Indian River and St. Lucie, you have a $3 specialist copay. In that Treasure Coast area, it is 8, which is still a great, great offer. Ambulatory between $25 and $50. Our Part Ds, as you can see, we have a Tier 6 Part Ds. So Tier 1 and 2 are going to be your generics, your preferred or non-preferred. Those are both going to be 0. Um, Tier 3 is preferred. Tier 4, once again, like the other plan that I mentioned, it goes to a percentage versus for 2025, it was a set copay. And then for the Tier 6 select care drugs, which is usually what these chronic members specifically need for their chronic illness, is going to be $10 copay. So that is a really great offer. Dental expands a little bit depending on where you're at. Some of these, you still get the fillings, the crowns, the simple and surgical extractions. Some of the plans do offer the dentures. So it's one per arch every 5 years, which is, I know the terminology for how they put it is a little confusing, but it is a full set of dentures. Some of these plans also offer the root canal, and then some of them also do offer the debridement or the deep cleans. Hearing aids stays the same, 2,000 per year. Eyewear allowance, 400 to 300 to 400, depending where you're at. Fitness benefit is still covered by Silver Sneakers. Meal benefit, Mom's Meals, Nurse Hotline, CareNet. The really important thing here is that ancillary. Over the counter, depending where you're at, is between 100 and 115 per month. That's great. It is for all of these are going to be non-rolling. You also do have that healthy foods and utility allowance. That is also it is between $100 a month to 105, depending where you're at. And then you do have that flex allowance again. You can see the numbers there. And then for our C-SNPs and our D-SNPs, we actually have unlimited transportation on all of the plans. So
Okay, and
this one,
Lexi, I,
yes.
I am so sorry. I don't mean to
It's okay.
interrupt you, but I did wanted to ask you if you would like us to provide you with the questions that are coming up, or would you like to save them all to the end?
No, you're more than welcome to ask the questions as we go along.
Oh, okay, okay. So I'll wait for you to finish this chart and then I'll provide you with the questions or
Yeah, that works. I mean, I can stop whenever if you have questions now, I can answer some of them.
okay, awesome, awesome. So I have a question here and it says, how does the flex allowance function a is it a credit card?
So we'll get to the slide there, but I'll go ahead and go over it now. So the OTC, the Healthy Foods and Utility Allowance, and then the Flex Allowance all go on one card. So it is used as like a MasterCard. And somehow with the vendor that we use for all of those, it's Nations Benefit. And they have almost like within the card, it's kind of like buckets, okay? Like this came out as an over the counter option. This came out for the healthy foods. This was specific to vision, dental, and hearing, on top of what we already offer, if that answers the
Awesome.
question.
Yes, sure. Awesome, awesome. The other question is, can you put the map up again, please?
Oh, yes. Yeah, let me go back to that real quick. There we go.
Awesome, thank you. I do have one more question. And let me just open it here. Are specialists only for in-service area of plan, or can they see in-network doctors in nearby areas like for Treasure Coast, seeing Jupiter medical doctors?
So the primaries have to be in network. We are an HMO plan specifically, so any PPO, I think they're kind of basing it off of a PPO plan. But we are always looking for doctors. We're always wanting to grow our network. So if you guys ever come across any doctors that you may not see on our directories, to go ahead and send that information over to me directly. And I can get that over to our provider relations director, which I have a direct, line over to her. So I work very closely with her on trying to get all the doctors we possibly can on board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any others?
That's it for now.
Okay. Okay, so that was the diabetic, the CVD, and the CHF plan. We'll go over to the COPD plan. This one is a little bit smaller, so you do have all of those counties in the left side, and then which is basically like the Tampa on the right side. So max out of pocket, 2,600 or the 1,750. Once again, no premiums on any of our plans. Um, you do have the full 185 give back. Inpatient hospital is very competitive in these for this plan specifically. You do have that $3 specialist copay. Ambulatory is 25 sorry, $25. Part D, it was the same as the other C-SNP. You will have that percentage for the tier 4 and the $10 tier 6. One thing I do want to mention on this COPD plan specifically is the oxygen is covered at zero cost. So, say for instance, you do have a member that um, has COPD, but they're also diabetic. I always recommend the COPD plan usually is a little bit more richer than our other standard CSNP uh, plan. So always look at the options and see what works best for them. On this specific plan, they do both, for all of the counties, they do offer the dentures. So that is another really rich benefit for a lot of people. Also, once again, they still get the fillings, the crown, the simple and surgical extractions, the root canals, and the deep cleans, on top of, your routine cleanings and the x-rays that they have to go through. Hearing aids are going to be 2,000 still. Eyewear is 400 per year. They do get those supplemental benefits. The OTC is 110 per month. The healthy foods and utilities is 100 per month. The flex allowance is a little different on each one of these, but it's either 550 or the 730 per year. And then, like I mentioned, the transportation on all C-SNPs and D-SNPs are going to be unlimited. And then we'll go over to our D-SNPs. We do offer both full and partials. And then on top, where they usually say which county it is located in, these are offered in all of our counties. So it'll be the same across the board. Okay, so full is on the left, partial is on the right. Your max out of pocket is 500, but we all know our Medi-Medis, they never usually ever hit that. You go all the way down, it's mainly zero copays all the way down, and you'll notice that these look very identical, which is almost unheard of. Our partial can be very competitive when it comes to things as a smaller plan in regards to some of these other carriers out there for Florida. And our full is actually pretty competitive as well. You will notice in the Part D drugs, tiers 1, 2, and 6 are now going to be covered at a zero copay, but tiers 3, 4, and 5, depending on what their situation is, it's either going to be a 25% coinsurance or it'll go based off of their LIS approved subsidy amount. Usually they already get the LIS, so it shouldn't be more than just a couple dollars for them to get those the medications. Dental, they get everything covered. The fillings, crowns, extractions, root canal, debridement. It is not on here, but we do offer the dentures for both plans. They just, for some reason, did not add it on this slide. Hearing aids are still the 2,000 per year. Eyewear goes up to $500 per year. They get that fitness benefit. They do have in-home support. If you guys have ever worked with Pop-Up House in the past, it's exactly like that, but it's through a company called Helper Bees. So they do get 30 hours per year. They get the meal benefit, the nurse hotline. The OTC allowance is still non-rolling. It is either 205 for the full or 210 for the partial. Unlimited transportation, 225 per month for the healthy foods and utility allowance, as long as they are verified with a qualifying condition. And then the flex allowance is either 700 per year for the full or 630 for the year for the partial. I'm sure that everybody has already been fully aware of the SSBCI, that CMS's new rule for this year has come out. But if you have not, just to give you a quick rundown, is for your D-SNPs only, if any carrier offers a healthy foods or utility allowance, they now have to be confirmed by a provider within, I believe the time span is 6 months for a condition. Now, it's not the same conditions as the C-SNP, where it's very limited. And I know that some carriers are doing different qualifications for that specific, for those specific conditions. But Ultimate is offering the ones that are on the CMS website. So I believe it's about 26 different conditions that they can have. And it can be, things like alcoholism, depression, if they have cancer, they do on top of have the diabetes, the cardiovascular disease, the COPD, and things of that nature as well. But they have a broader list for the D-SNPs to get qualified. And like we were mentioning earlier, this is the MasterCard that they get for the OTC allowance, the healthy foods, utilities, and then the flex allowance, which is the dental, vision, and hearing expenses. And then also, if your member participates in any of our wellness incentives, that those little incentives will also go on this card. For those DSNPs specifically, they will still get this card. It'll just, once they get that verification through their provider, then that healthy foods and utility allowance will go on this. It'll be loaded automatically. But until they get, they have to wait until they get verified in order to get that allowance. The really cool thing about our OTC and our healthy foods is you can go in the store, you can order it online, or you can do it by phone. The really cool thing about this is our participating retailers for both the OTC and the healthy foods is actually pretty extensive. So you've got the CVS locations. They can't be in Target stores though. They have to be that standalone. Publix, Dollar General, Walgreens, Walmart, Winn-Dixie. You do have Save-A-Lot, and Kroger delivery was actually just recently added to our list as well. So they have, quite a bit of locations that they can go in store and get. And then also on top of our OTC list, it's not just, a 4-page catalog that has all generic OTC information on there. We also offer, they can do the generics or they can do a name brand. So you've got Tylenol, you've got Zyrtec, you've got all these name brand medications that they can get as well if that's what they prefer. Healthy foods, it's everybody has their own little version of what healthy foods is, but I don't know about you, but I can spend $100 just myself a week. So what I recommend is just taking that card with you, swiping it every time that you go, whatever gets taken off, and the member would just pay for the remainder, and just keep going each week. Like I mentioned, $100 for healthy foods or even the utilities is very easy to go through quickly. And then this is just one of our CSNP highlights. This is actually going to be one of our flyers that go out to the members, letting them know, hey, these are all of the zero copays. You do get the over the counter, the healthy foods, the flex allowance. The Part B is a full give back for this year, as well as the hearing and vision is very competitive. And then this just tells you a little bit about the Helper Bees, which once again, if you've worked with Papa Pals, it's very similar. Helper Bees is actually a little bit better vetted when it comes to their W-2 process. So it makes the members feel a little bit more secure of who's coming to their house. But you can do light pet help. This is more for people that have just come out of the hospital or out of rehab, and they just need some assistance with, walking their pet or light housekeeping. It's wiping down counters, light laundry. It's not, hey, go outside and mow my lawn and do all of my landscape and things of that nature. It's just very light work. They can use them for companionship. If they need any tech help, or watching TV, or just having a general conversation with somebody that may feel a little bit lonely. So this is a really great benefit for our DSNPs. And once again, it is only 30 hours for the year, and they can only do it within 2 to 4 increments per day. And then this just goes over a little bit about the comprehensive dental, which we kind of already had gone over, what they offer for each of the plans. And then we'll go over the agent information. Does anybody so far have any other questions, MJ?
No questions so far. We're good.
Perfect. Awesome.
Thank
All
you.
right, agent information. So for any of you that have not gotten 2026 certified with Ultimate just yet, I do want to make you fully aware that it is very to the point and very the least amount of time consuming that you can think of for certifications as a carrier. I actually made these certifications myself, so I know that you guys have a bunch of other carriers that you do have to get contracted with. So I wanted to not waste your time and make sure that it was just very to the point. Um, you do have 3 steps. The step 1 is your agent application. You'll want to upload and attach your 2026 AHIP certification. As a brand new broker with Ultimate, you'll want to upload your W-9 form. Please ensure that it is signed and signature dated. That way our finance department is not having to reach out to you and delaying the process with setting you up with an account. We always recommend direct deposit. Nobody wants to have a paper check, in the mail or it get lost of some sort. You'll answer a couple personal questions, then you'll submit the step 1. Then it'll go into step 2. Step 2 right now is a 37-page PDF. So it's fully up to your discretion if you want to scroll through it for 2 seconds, or if you just want to take your time and learn about Ultimate. It's very similar to this presentation today. Once you sign it, you'll submit step 2 and then step 3. Step 3 is really important to pay attention to, only because when you click into step 3, there's going to be some verbiage at the very top of the screen that basically says there's a link right below before you enter the exam. You'll want to click on that, download it to your device, whether you're using a laptop, a computer, an iPad, whatever you're using, go ahead and download it to your device and then click into enter exam here, only because we make the exam open book. So you've got all of those slides, which is actually the slides from step 2. You've got all of that information on the slides, which are the answers to the questions. There is one trick question in the exam. But it shouldn't be hard to figure out. It was just a past rule that had happened through CMS. You do have to pass with an 85% or higher. There are 30 questions, and then you do have 5 tries, but I always like to say, if it's an open book exam and you need more than 5 tries, shame on you, okay? Um, technically it does sometimes happen, very, very few times. If you do need more than 5 tries, go ahead and give me a call directly. I will open it up one more time, but after 6 tries, we will not be able to move forward with your certifications. As a brand new broker, once all 3 steps have been completed and you're in passing status, I get a notification on the very back end that lets me know, hey, I need to run your background check. We run a generalized. We're really not concerned with too much, as long as you're, maybe a felon in the last couple of years. But just to give you a little bit of a background, I've been here for over 6 years, and I have yet to have to turn down somebody due to their background. Once I do run that background check, it'll text you and email you through a company called Shield Screening. It'll say CSTS on behalf of Ultimate Health Plans is requesting this background. You'll want to go ahead and put your information in. And then once it's been submitted, it takes about a 24-hour turnaround time for it to be completed. Right now, I am the only person that is completing all of the broker accounts for the certifications. So, I am in my busy season right now. So it's taking about a week before you get that RTS, email confirmation. And that email will specifically have which year you're certified for, along with what we call is a UCANE writing number for Ultimate specifically. Do note that if you only do 2026 certifications, it does not grandfather you in for the remainder of 2025. So if you come across any clients that may need a sooner effective date versus having it as a 1/1/2026, you'll want to make sure that you also knock out the 2025 certifications with us, but don't, uh, don't fret. It is the same exact steps and process as 2026. So if you really dedicate your time, it can take you maybe 30 minutes to knock out each one. And then the agent portal. Oh, was there a question?
Oh, there is a question, Lexi. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So we have an agent asking, what are the star ratings for the plans?
So 2025 is a 4-star rating, and it looks like it'll stay the same, but we won't fully know until the star ratings. The star ratings usually come out until after AEP has started. I think it's like a week or two after. But to our knowledge, I believe we will stay a 4-star, which is, it's still good. We're always striving
Yes.
for more stars, though.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes. Agent Portal, once you do become RTS with Ultimate, you have a bunch of other tabs that open up. So you'll have a profile tab that you can update your phone number, your address, your banking information, change your password if you need to. Once you start writing active business with Ultimate, then you will have a My Members tab, and that My Members tab will have all of the information that you need for your members. Do note when it happens to us all, once you start writing active business and maybe, for whatever reason, they decided they didn't like Ultimate, so they disenrolled, or maybe it was a report of death. Things do happen all the time, and they fall off the plan. In that My Members tab right now, our reporting is a little off, so it will not take that member off of your My Members tab. So if you are ever looking for an accurate book of business, you want to make sure that you're reviewing your commission statements, which is actually also your statements are in the agent portal as well for you to download and review. You'll also have access to plan materials and documents along with any trainings that we offer. So I did just upload our very first peek in the box for 2026 benefits. If you want to go in there and review what we offer, that's up to you. We also have another training in there. We use Sunfire Matrix as our only electronic application platform. So we have a really nice training in there that Sunfire actually did for Ultimate, and we were able to go ahead and record it. But it goes through every single step process as far as going through the scope of appointment, what to do there, and then jumping over to the enrollment process from start to finish. It's very nice, but it's about a 35-minute training. So whenever you have the time to sit down, if you're not familiarized with Sunfire, it's very beneficial. Something really important to also pay attention to is the HRA form is in there. So um, the tab will say HRA detail. You'll click on it. It'll bring you to the page. You'll want to start an HRA, and there's going to be a little page that you'll have to put all of your members' information in, like first, last name, MBI number, date of birth. That way it can link up to the enrollment. Um, and then it goes into the HRA form. The HRA in the last couple of years have been really consolidated, so I believe it's only about 20 questions long, which is actually very short for an HRA for a carrier to offer. Um, but the system's really good about letting you know, hey, you did accidentally skip over this question. Go back and answer it and then go ahead and submit it. Once you do submit it, there is a way that you can actually track all of your submitted HRAs. That way you're not having to carry that paper HRA everywhere or put it in a file. But we do offer those HRAs in paper form as well. So it's fully up to your discretion whether you want the electronic or the paper. This slide specifically has not been updated, but you'll also have the option to order materials straight to your doorstep. So it's going to be a material request form. You'll fill it out. Do note that for each broker enrollment kit box, it's only one box, but it offers 5 kits, and it's for all of the counties that we offer. Every single plan that we offer, it's not just one or the other, specific to this market. So that helps tremendously having all of those. That way you're not having to dig through which market you're specifically in. But it only offers 5 kits per box. So if you need more than 5 kits at a time, just go ahead and put multiple orders in back to back. That way we can get those out to you as soon as possible. And then one other thing I do want to touch on is that with the agent portal is that SSBCI form. will be in electronic form as well. So we'll have another tab in there for after you're doing your, it can be either paper or electronic application for your DSNPs. You'll go in, fill the form out, and then it'll also, you can also go ahead and do the HRA in there while you're at it. These are the different ways that you can submit an application with us. Once again, we do use Sunfire, so that is obviously our most preferred, but we do know that there are some people out there that still like to use paper applications. If you are a paper application person, that is the fax number that goes straight to our enrollment department. This number, once this presentation is over, I'll show you our main website because it is listed on the main website as well for, just different areas that you can get this number. You do have the mailing address, but I never recommend mailing just because that's a bunch of PHI information out in the world, and it's either in snail mail or it's also, it happens all the time. It can get lost. So we just never want to unless it's absolutely necessary. And if you are in Florida and you're close by one of our local community outreach offices, we actually have drop boxes for you guys specifically. So if you have a paper application, you can just drop it by one of the offices. The AA that sits in that office will fax it over to you or fax it for you over to our enrollment department. So that's very, very convenient. And this is just a little slide that goes over Sunfire. Once you do become RTS with us and you've got your email confirmation, then you'll get an email directly from me with your credentialing and what, your specific link for Ultimate's platform. All right, so the compensation for 2026 is very competitive. So you've got $694 for your new Medicares. This is not prorated, so as soon as your member becomes effective with the plan, by the 28th of that specific month, then you will get paid that $694. Do note that if you have direct deposit, right now it's coming, the payment is being issued by the 20th to the 22nd. The 28th just kind of gives the department a little cushion in case they do get fallen behind. Then you have the 347 for your renewal years or your not new to Medicares. This is going to be like your PDPs or your MAPD prior plan types. This is prorated, so 347 starts in January of 2026, and each month it'll go down just a little bit. And then you do have 2892 as your renewals. If you are RTS with 2025 and you write a 10-1 effective, you do that HRA, you get paid on both in October. In January, you'll start receiving that renewal, which will be this amount. If you later down the road, since you guys are new with Ultimate, once you start writing business and you start collecting those renewals, sometimes you're semi-retired and you're just collecting renewals from each carrier. The lifetime does have a little bit of a stipulation to it, so you will have to make sure that you are certified with us each year. And then also keep in mind that we do require you to be AHIP certified, so you'll have to do both of those in order to collect our renewals. But each month or each year, all of your renewals get bumped up to the year that we offer. So if you have any renewals with us right now as a broker, though all of those renewals will be bumped up to this 2892. A couple things to touch base on. If you have submitted an application within the last, I would say, 7 to 5 days of the month, it may not be in CMS approved until the following month after we have pulled the reporting for the commissions for that month. So sometimes that does happen. If you do not get paid on the member that, you wrote your application on 9/30 and they become effective 10/1, sometimes it's not in that approved status, so it'll just roll on to the following month just because it wasn't in that CMS approved status just yet. Also, please make sure that you're emailing agentadmin@ulthp.com for any commission or renewal inquiries or issues. We haven't had in the past where you've called maybe not you guys specifically, just in general. Agent support, and unfortunately, agent support does not have any access to any of that information. So, write agent admin. I'm actually on that thread, so I'll work it myself. But I will make sure that you get a email back letting you know, hey, I did received it. I'm working on it. I'll get back to you once I have all of the information of what happened or what went wrong. That way, one, it's a paper trail for you guys. You know somebody's working on it. And two, you guys aren't sitting on the phone while we're trying to figure out the whole scenario of what we're trying to look through. Okay, we do have some incentives. One is our HRA incentive. This is $75 per HRA on every new enrollment. It cannot be on a plan change. So plan change for us means um, if your client is already on a core plan for Ultimate, but they now get qualified for one of our CSNP plans, that would be considered a plan change. Unfortunately, if you do the HRA on that plan change, it won't count, so you won't get the incentive. It has to be on new business, so they have to come from one carrier over to us. And then if you'll receive an additional $75 in February of 2026, or if you're just now writing business in 2026, it'll be February of 2027. If that same member has remained active on the plan, then you'll receive another $75. So really what you're looking at is $75 for the HRA. You keep that member active for the remainder of the year. And the next year, you will receive another $75 for the retention on top of, you'll start receiving that renewal for that member as well. So really you're looking at $150 to complete one HRA. So that can add up very quickly. And then we do have one other incentive. This is through AEP and right after. So once, if you plan on writing AEP business with Ultimate, here's some of the stipulations or the criterias that go within this incentive. So it's all of your AEP election type or the election period. It cannot be an SEP specific or ICEP or the IEP. It has to be that AEP. Obviously, if it is AEP election, then it's a 1/1 effective. So it'll be 1/1/26. And then for our chronic plans only. So once your member becomes effective with a plan on 1/1, they have that 60-day window in order to get confirmed by their provider of that condition that they put on the application. And what will happen is once they get confirmed by their provider, what I want you to do is go in your uh, agent portal. You'll go to My Members tab. You'll find your CSNP members that have that AEP 1/1 effective. And under each one of them, there's going to be a little checkbox that says you assisted with their CSNP verification. That is your action. You have to go in there and do that checkbox in order to receive that $50 because each confirmed CSNP will be that $50. So if you have a lot of CSNP business, that can also rack up very quickly on top of the HRA incentive and your commissions on top of that. And then agent support, they are very pristine to work with. If you ever have any Medicare eligibility lookups, such as needing their Part A or B, their LAS, their election period qualifications, they can assist you with any of that. Medicaid eligibility lookup, this one's really important. It's always a common courtesy if you're dealing with a specific carrier's application to call the carrier if you need any information. Our DSNP or our Medicaid codes are a little bit different than some of these other carriers. So for example, maybe the client has QMB as their code. And for some of these carriers, that could be a full DSNP. But for us, that would actually be a partial. So QMB plus would be our full. So just calling into our agent support for that quick information can, one, not delay the processing of that application, and you're also getting that information accurate the first go around. They can also look up application statuses, Sunfire information, agent certification statuses, anything on the agent portal. And then once you do write some business, they can actually look up member inquiries as long as you are the agent of record. Um, so obviously, if you have a full book of business, you got 20, 30 people on our plan, and you're like, hey, I need every single phone number, or I need all of their mailing addresses. Like, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to assist with that. But if you have like a couple that you need their member ID numbers, or, whatever the case may be, they're able to assist you, like I mentioned, as long as you're the agent of record. That is their phone number on the left bottom hand corner. If it's not too important, you're always more than welcome to email them. If it's later in the day that you do email them, they'll just work it the following business day. That is their time and days that they are currently working. But I do know through AEP, we are adding a Saturday morning to mid-afternoon shift for the call volume. And then we'll just briefly go over our main website real quick. That way you guys have a little familiarity with where to go, what quick tools we offer very quickly. I'm going to stop sharing just for 2 seconds. Okay, so our main website is Choose Ultimate. You do have this first quick tool. It's Find a Doctor Pharmacy. So you'll go ahead and click on that. This is our provider directory. And you have a couple different options in regards to how to find the doctors that you may be looking for. But as you scroll down, you see these individual searches by plan year, by location, if you know the doctor's specific name, if you're looking for a specific type of doctor, and then obviously advanced searches. So if you keep scrolling past that, you do have you do have the PDF versions, but as you can see when you open it, it's only updated every so often. So what I want you to do is use these individual searches because this is on a 24-hour updated live feed. And you don't necessarily have to do each one just to find it. You can do it, just by location if you're looking for a specific county, maybe Pasco you're looking for, or maybe your provider that you're looking for has a common last name. And I do apologize if any of your last names are Smith, but I'm just going to use it as an example. Once you type in the name of the provider, all of the findings will be there, along with once you do find it, say for instance, it's maybe Duncan Smith. You'll click on that, you'll go to the results, and then it'll show you every location that that provider may also be at if they have multiple locations. If you search by type, you have your hospitals, your PCPs, your specialists, you do want to make sure that you are looking over it very carefully, only because, sorry, it's not populating on your screen. Interesting. Okay. When you're going through it, something as simple as, hey, I'm looking for a dentist, it's actually listed under as general dentistry. So just rereading over what specialty you're looking for specifically. And the advanced searches, you do have the doctor's gender, whether they prefer a female or a male or vice versa. If English is not their first language, they can always look for additional languages as well. You'll go to results. Obviously, if something populates, it'll come up. But if it does not, they're more than likely not in our provider directory. If you scroll back up a little bit, you do have these blue boxes on the right-hand corner. These are all of your ancillary providers. So you've got hearing, OptumRx, which is our formulary. You have routine, vision, behavioral health. We do use LabCorp for our blood labs. And then you do have FCL Dental, which is our vendor for dental for 2025 and 2026. FCL stands for First Continental Life. One thing I do want to touch base on that is when your member goes to the dentist, they don't want to say, hey, I have ultimate health plans. They want to say, I have First Continental Life Dental, or I have Dentamax, which is another for the First Continental. Do note in Florida specifically, there is another dental company that has the acronyms FCL that is not in a bunch of the offices that we offer. But the next step after finding the doctors that you're looking for your client, then you'll go to prescription drug information. You'll scroll down. You do have the PDFs under here, but I always like using the search online tool. So you'll click on that. You'll click on continue. And this goes straight to OptumRx's website. If you guys have ever worked with OptumRx in the past, they are wonderful to work with. They're very on top of their game. So you'll go ahead and click on prescription drug list. You'll select the plan that your client is currently looking at. So you've got all of your 2025 and your 2026 options. You will type in the drug that you're looking for. I'll just use Eliquis as an example. ELI, and then it'll populate what you're trying to spell. You'll click search. And the really nice thing about this is that it gives you the name of the drug. This little area will give you whether it's the brand or it's a generic of what you're looking for. You've got the dosage, what tier it falls under for Ultimate specifically. And if you need more information, you'll click on that little arrow and it'll give you whether it needs a prior authorization, step therapy, whether it has a quantity limit. Say, for instance, Eliquis showed up as non-formulary in our on the search, though. You would just want to go to the therapeutic class and go through what we do offer on our formulary. Obviously, we're not providers. We can't tell the member, hey, you can take this over, what you've been taking already. So they'll want to take the list that we do offer back to their provider. That way they can get, they can disclose what their options are. And then lastly, we'll go back to the main website. You do go under this members tab, and then you'll go over to the documents and forms. You'll scroll down and you've got all of your ANOCs, your summary of benefits, your evidence of coverages, PDFs. You do have that OTC catalog. And then if you keep scrolling down for that star ratings, once it does come out, it'll have, obviously it'll have 2026, but you'll have that option as well. You do have this agents tab. As a broker for Ultimate, this tab really helps you out just because it gives you all of the links that you possibly need. So I clicked on agent with the agent home. Once again, you have all of the agent supports information. You got the agent certification tab, Sunfire Matrix. They do have some really nice visual FAQs, enrollment and plan documents, agent portal, that fax number that goes straight to the enrollment department or the mailing address if you have any paper applications that need to be mailed. And then on an FMO level, which this doesn't really pertain to most of you, but we do have the FMO portal link for your upline to go in there and review the RTS or the commission statements for FMO level. And that is all that I have for you guys today.
Thank you, Lexi. This information, excuse me, has been excellent and it is very valuable to all of us. I encourage every one of you here today that if you've not visited our website, please do so. There is a calendar on the main page. And if you click on the calendar or events calendar, it will show you all the webinars that we are currently offering here at Messer. We do work with agents nationwide and have agency partners also nationwide. Let us know if you need anything in terms of training, new carriers, product knowledge, state information, anything at all. We're here to work for you and ensure that you're saving time to close more sales. So if you are out there looking for an FMO that offers you a fully vested partnership and a totally different experience, let me tell you, you found us. Messer Financial Group is the best partnership you can ever have to reach your business goals. So please don't hesitate in calling us at 866-568-9649. We can answer any questions for you, help you contract. And Lexi, again, thank you for being part of this webinar today. And I look forward in speaking with you. Thank you all for being such an important part of Messer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for allowing me to teach your agents today.
Of course, of course. So everyone, have a good day, and Lexi, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Bye, guys.